Hey guys, welcome back. So for this one, we are jumping back into Immortal X-Men. And I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite issues out this first volume, because it's here where Sinister goes for it. He goes for the timeline save scum. And for those who aren't familiar with the term save scum, it's when you create a save point in a game just before you reach a difficult or lucrative area and you use that save to go back to in case you mess up, you die, whatever. That save is now your new beginning, and this method can be beneficial so that whoever may try it or do it does not have to start all the way from the beginning or from an undesirable save point in said game. But once again, if you're new to the terminology, you'll definitely understand by the time this video is done. And with that said, let's get into it. But first, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so for this one, we jump back in just after the events of Judgment Day, at a point where things have more or less gone back to normal, and the different members of the Quiet Council are reporting the recent updates and putting together the plans of how they're going to move forward with the new information, as well as the announcement of mutants sharing resurrection with the world. So it's here where you have Storm informing the council on the status of Arakko, as well as the Eternals giving the mutants Uranos for 1 hour at the moment of which they choose. And mind you, during this time, the death of Magneto is still pretty fresh, and for that reason, Charles he's a bit out of it. But as they go on to discuss the topic of sharing resurrection with the humans, it gets to the point to where Kate Pryde steers the topic, with her being in favor of the previous conditions of using it for sick children. But for Exodus, he's against the mutants sharing resurrections with humans on any level, because again, he believes it's a very for us, by us, Krakoa ENT, we all we got kind of thing. And for him, because of his religious belief for mutant kind and Hope being the Messiah, he sees sharing resurrection as sacrilegious. But even with Exodus voting against it, Hope tells him like, come on man, didn't you say something about JC sharing his miracles among the lowly? Which really is Hope using his own words against them. But also it lightens the mood in the room, with everyone cracking a chuckle, except for Destiny and Mystique. Because they're Destiny and Mystique. But then it's at this point when a certain somebody makes their way to the meeting a bit late, and that somebody is none other than Mr. Sinister. And we'll talk about why he's late in just a few. But with Sinister strolling in late, casually, Emma pokes a little jab saying like, you know, glad you can join us, and she goes on to say like, okay, yeah, now we can figure out this whole Dr. Stasis thing. But with Sinister making his way around the different seats, he responds to Emma like, you know, well, never mind, I saved the world during Judgment Day, and oh yeah, Dr. Stasis, yeah, we'll get to that. But as Sinister continues to make his way around, passing one seat after the other, it's here where Destiny addresses Exodus, to where then Exodus is like, yes. And Destiny then says ever so casually to Exodus, Nathaniel is about to kill Hope. And when she says this, there's a lot of confused faces around the room, including Sinister, because he's just like, what? Ah, you spoiled sport. And right away, Exodus just juices the guy. And with seeing this, as you might assume, just about everybody on the council is like, what is going on? Because sure, they had their questions and their suspicions about the whole Dr. Stasis thing, but with seeing this now, there's a suspicion that Sinister's up to something. But just seconds from now, the council being aware of this won't even matter. But before we continue forward, we first gotta jump back to earlier that day, before the council meeting, when Destiny went to have a word with Sinister. Because earlier before that meeting, Destiny approached Sinister, much like what we'd seen in issue 4, with her intentionally making conversation with Sinister to plant a thought in his head to keep him from resetting the timeline. Because earlier before the meeting, when she came to talk to Sinister, they had a bit of small talk about Judgment Day. He asked her if she got judged, and Destiny was like, yeah, I failed. And when she asked Sinister, you know, how about you? In response, Sinister was like, I didn't fail. I didn't pass. It didn't judge me. But just after that, Destiny tells Sinister, you're a monster, Nathaniel. Don't worry, I'll always be here to judge you. Don't give up. To where then she just walks off saying, you know, I wonder if Dr. Stasis got judged. Who knows? And for Destiny, that was it. She met with Sinister to tell him not to give up and to stir up the curiosity about Dr. Stasis. And with her doing this, it works. Because again, for Sinister, you give him a little push and he's going to overthink the rest. But with Destiny's words being just enough to keep Sinister from killing Moira number 5, which would send everything back to before Magneto left the Quiet Council. This causes Sinister to reconsider before he hits the reset, and then to take it a step further, he then thinks about Judgment Day and how he doesn't want to go through that again. And God knows I don't either. But with thinking about this and overthinking, it then causes Sinister to come up with a quite genius plan, because from here he then creates a new save point with Moira number 6. He speeds up her aging so her mutant gene activates, and it's here where Sinister decides that he's gonna save Scum. And now if anything goes wrong, he'll reset and come right back to this morning. And with how he has this set up, if he flatlines for more than 5 seconds, then the save Scum Moira will be terminated. And with how this is set up, he pretty much has 10 tries, 10 opportunities to get this right until he's out of Moira Scums. And from here, as he makes his way to the Quiet Council meeting, late, we already saw how that played out. Exodus killed him, and now he's on the save Scum Moira number 6 for the second time, which he intended to start off with a bang. But Destiny then gave the council the heads up, and even though Nightcrawler wanted to bring in Sinister for questioning, Exodus didn't, so he killed Sinister just like the first time. And then after this, when Sinister then uses his Moira game save number 3, Mystique then gets the jump on him because Destiny gave her the heads up. But then with Mystique holding Sinister, Hope uses Exodus's power to amplify her own and force her way into Sinister's mind to figure out what he's doing. But with Hope forcing her way in, she triggers Sinister's failsafe, which causes his head to explode so that the Quiet Council is none the wiser. But then from here, heading into save Scum number 4, Sinister's like, okay, I gotta think twice reroute that. Because for Destiny, if he doesn't go for her, she gives somebody the heads up. If he avoids her entirely, she gives everybody the heads up. But the thing is, when he does go for someone besides Destiny, sure, she'll give them the heads up, but it's gonna be late. But from here, Sinister then makes his way to go to the meeting. And as he does, he then says, referring to Destiny, we must be on the same side. But when this is all over, he will come for her. To where then he walks through the gate to Scum yet once again. And this time, with us being on the 4th attempt, Sinister makes his way in with a huge gun and rather heavy body armor that kind of reminds me of Live, Die, Repeat. But as soon as he walks into the meeting, he kills Exodus first, but then right away Hope takes Storm's powers and she fries him. So then on number 5, Sinister comes back and right away he kills Exodus and Hope, only for Storm to then use her own powers and fry him. To where then on number 6, Sinister walks in with an even larger suit, but then he short circuits before he even makes it down the stairs, with his last words being something about cursing celestial tech. To where then for save file number 7, Sinister camps up top and he starts raining shots with some high-tech sniper rifle, until eventually Exodus sees where he's camping at and he races towards Sinister. But before he can get to him, Sinister deletes himself with his last words being, oh, for flip's sake. And then after this, for number 8, Sinister reverses the failsafe in his mind to make Xavier's head explode, and immediately after, Emma goes into her diamond form and she pushes her fingers through Sinister's eyes, which is kind of one of my favorites here. And then for number 9, Sinister goes with the multiple tentacle route with multiple eyes on each tentacle, shooting optic blasts, which in a frenzy kills a few members of the council. But Destiny's able to get away with Mystique, Kate was able to phase out of there, and Exodus teleported himself and Hope away. And now at this point, with Sinister having used 9 out of his 10 attempts, he has to make this last one count, because if it doesn't, then he has to go through Judgment Day all over again. And for the record, I feel like that's some real good motivation. Like, this has to work or else we're back at Judgment Day. But while Sinister's here trying to figure out what's the final plan, he also has the head of Dark Beast yelling and telling him to let him out or else he'll kill him. But Sinister just shuts him up, and I like how he does it, because he tells him that you're not the darkest beast anymore. Because nowadays, regular old Hank, he's got that covered all by himself. Which now has me thinking that we need to catch up with the X-Force and Wolverine playlist, because Beast has been wildin'. But then from here, Sinister finally figures out how he's gonna go about it for his final attempt. And he does this by heading to the Quiet Council meeting and telling everyone that he's ready to clear his name with the whole Dr. Stasis ordeal, in the same way that Stasis was revealed, with every telepath verifying a memory from Cyclops. So Sinister does the same thing here, and he tells all the telepaths to verify this memory. But as soon as they do, they're hit with a psychic bomb that is made from a cluster of cloned Xavier brains, which froze all the telepaths. And in addition, it's followed with a telekinetic pulse, which took out Emma and Xavier, leaving Hope and Exodus, who are pretty much just frozen. And to keep the other members of the council occupied while he takes out Hope and Exodus, he has these Cyclops eyes with angel wings on them, and some of them without, but most of them got wings. But these things are just shooting optic blasts everywhere, covering Sinister, while he kills Exodus by dropping a mixture of Ambassador Harry Leland, who has the mutant power to increase mass, mixed with the power of Gambit, who has the power to turn mass into energy, which put together it wrecks Exodus. And now with Exodus out the way, Hope can no longer use his power. So Sinister then hits her with hollow points embedded with the genes of Unis the Untouchable, which then expand these psionic fields from inside her, which just tear her apart. It's overkill. But for Sinister, with him getting this dub by scumming, but nonetheless, he gets the win. He then takes a second to gloat, with him more or less saying that Dr. Stasis could never, to where then he just bamps out of there. But even with Sinister leaving, like he'd said before, this dance isn't over, and sure, he would have liked to have cleaned up a bit more, but for the members that he was able to take out, this at least gives him something he can work with. But at this point, with Sinister gone and on his way to bring out Moira number 7, with his save scum for number 6 finally being a success, it's here where what's left of the Quiet Council make arrangements to resurrect their dead and go after Sinister. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/Dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.